Good day, everyone. Welcome to Global Government News. Today is Friday, November 19th, 2010, and I'm Darko. Welcome to part 2 of this Eugenics news segment for Global Government News. I recommend new listeners to please check out my website at www.ggnonline.com. That's ggnonline.com. So here we go. We're just going to bust into these second part of these articles here. And the first one up is China worried about unrest will subsidize food for the poor. And this came out 2 days ago. From the AP, China's government announced food subsidies for poor families Wednesday as it tries to cool a double-digit surge in prices that communist leaders worry might stir unrest. The cabinet promised to ease shortages of vegetables and grain that helped push up food prices by more than 10% in October. It promised more supplies of diesel to end fuel shortages that have disrupted trucking and industry. And it says the cabinet said it was not ordering direct price controls, but said they could be imposed if necessary. The statement gave no details of the subsidies or how the government would try to increase food supplies. And next one up, genetically modified potatoes. Mentioned this in the last video. And it says scientists unleash new monster. So this is a big staple in my diet, so definitely don't appreciate it. From NaturalNews, genetic modification of food supply has run rampant within the past couple of years. A new genetically modified creation has emerged and soon may end up on your dinner table. Researchers in India have developed a genetically modified potato loaded with genetically altered amino acids. It seems as if scientists are attempting to recreate nature entirely. Genetically modified fish have threatened the very genetic code of fish worldwide. And I'm talking about the GMO salmon. And the genetically modified canola plant has spread into the wild. It is apparent that a tidal wave of genetic modulation has hit the environment very hard. Genetically modified potatoes now threaten the purity of potatoes internationally. All it takes is a careless farmer to allow his modified crop to be planted elsewhere without properly labeling the crop as modified. It says this would mix in the genetically modified crop with traditional and organic crops. This is a legitimate environmental issue as it is a major threat to food integrity. And this is eugenics. This is man trying to, play gods, basically. Simple as that. I don't usually use that phrase, but that's what it is. Next one up, U.S. Senate debate on S510. Oh, yeah, I just want to point out there, yeah, they want to play gods, but also they want to, like I said, they want to socially engineer society to their liking. And that includes the splitting off of the human species into two categories. First, you have kind of the superior white and Caucasian European male, usually the elites. And then you have this kind of pleb race that are very short and stout, not very bright. And so, I mean, they're doing things. Things are being done to your food and to your environment, such as the spraying of barium and aluminum and nanoparticles, among other things, to alter your DNA. That's why they want you to go through all these body scanners. There is no real reason for security. I mean, there's always a reason for security, but the biggest motivation for the federal government, as far as these body scanners go, is to get you through them, to get your body scan into a database, your biometric body scan, but also to modify your DNA. Everything is about attacking your DNA, your genes. That's what eugenics is. So, as long as you have that at the forefront of almost every issue, then you'll be set, because you'll know what's going on in the world around you. This one says U.S. Senate debate on Senate Bill 510 food safety bill could extend into the weekend. From NaturalNews again at 10:30 today, the U.S. Senate picks up its debate on the issue of S510, the Food Safety and Modernization Act. See, it's all progress. Everything's moving forward. Everything's good, great, and wonderful. Don't worry about a thing, guys. Don't worry about those conspiracy theorists. Don't don't let them infect you. Which is really a wolf in sheep's clothing. It says it would grant the FDA new tyrannical powers that could be used to criminalize backyard gardening, outlaw saving seeds, and imprison people who sell raw milk and oppress food freedom throughout the country. So I have a personal beef with this, because I happen to just start getting into this. I feel like I can't even talk about it because it's contraband. But I happen to get into the real milk, right? I don't even like to call it the RAW milk. I like to just call it milk because that's what it is. That's what people have been drinking for thousands of years. And all of a sudden, Mr. Louis Pasteur comes on and says, let's kill all the bacteria, including all the good bacteria in your milk, in order to save you and protect you from yourselves. Says UN official admits, and that is kind of crazy because when you go in there to get the milk, you know, there's not many places around that you can find it, and when you do, you literally feel like a criminal. You feel like a criminal. It's insane. You know what society has become. It really is. You know, I posted a video of a health food store that was getting raided by these feds, these cops with guns drawn over raw milk, real milk. I mean, if you think the federal government cares about your health, dude, I'm sorry, there's no hope for you. Maybe there is. Maybe you can keep watching my videos or keep researching on the subject, and maybe you'll learn some more about how our masters, our parents, really treat us, how they see the future, where they want to take us, the children, where do they want to take us culturally, you know. And you'll see that it usually will involve less of us. So more technology and less of us. See, that's progress. So, but the only way to get that program across and to move it forward, according to the Club of Rome, is basically to declare every natural crisis, natural disaster, crisis, climate change mostly, and global warming, to blame it on humans, so that every catastrophe could be blamed on humans. So, and in essence, the whole green thing, or environmentalism, to me is eugenics. So, UN officials admit we redistribute world's wealth by climate policy. Says this has almost nothing to do with environmental policy. Is this quote from A, climate change skeptic, B, an official from the UN Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. And it says climate change skeptics have long theorized about ulterior motives behind attempts to legislate and regulate man-made global warming. This speculation reached a fever pitch after data from the University of East Anglia, widely referenced by the UN, was found to be flawed, and private emails pointing to a broader conspiracy to falsify the so-called evidence. And so that's what it's all about. We basically have a mix of communism and fascism. It's the what you'd want to call is a Fabianist socialist, or I mean, they have an actual society, so I'm not making it up. And then there's a Leninist type of socialism, or you can call it communism. And we here in the West, we tend to live under the Fabianist style, where it's more not lax. I don't even want to use that word lax, but it's not in your face, and it's more behind the scenes. It relies on people, or sheeple, some people call them, to voluntarily allow themselves to have eugenics carried out on them, to voluntarily give away their privacy, to voluntarily give away their financial freedom. They do all this voluntarily. That's the Fabianist style, and that's what we've been living under. Now you can go to more hardcore countries like South America, Asia. Those are the Leninists, and Russia's kind of in between right now. They're coming out of the Leninists, but they're becoming more Fabianist. And basically, what I'm getting at is that all it comes down to is a redistribution of wealth, and that's one of the planks of the Communist Manifesto. So in order to do that, they have to legitimize what they're doing. They can't just take people's money and give it to somebody else. Well, I mean, I guess they can. They do that through income tax and property tax and all that other stuff. But they have to always legitimize it legally to cover their own asses. So in order to steal from one country and then give it to the other country, they have to pass legislation and call it carbon trading. And you would think, well, that's very humanitarian, right? That's what a philanthropist would do. And all I have to say is that it is much like money itself, like the Federal Reserve notes that you carry around to get your GMO food. It's nothing more than a means to keep you down. In other words, they redistribute the wealth, not because they care about the poor people in Africa. No, they don't. I mean, you just see these videos I'm covering, or these articles I'm covering. They don't care. They'll vaccinate them. They'll kill them. They'll perform research on them. So they obviously don't care about their health. And they like keeping them in that situation where they can't get up. Just keep knocking them down. And so that's the purpose, so that you can take wealth from, quote, rich nations, because we're so rich here in the U.S., right? With 1 out of 4 unemployed, and barely, and almost half don't have health insurance. They want to just basically keep us down. So that's my point. I hope I made it well. Moving on here, fears of I'll move this whole thing. Fears of new food crisis as prices soar. The bill for global food imports will top $1 billion this year for the second time ever, putting the world dangerously close to a new food crisis, the United Nations said. And the warning by the UN's Food and Agriculture Organization adds to fears about rising inflation in emerging countries from China to India. And emerging countries, that's, developing countries, that's all the same lingo for environmentalism and redistribution of wealth. Prices are dangerously close to the levels of 2007 and 8, and we got to keep moving because we're running out of time. Some questions state storehouse of newborn DNA. Many parents aren't even aware of this. It's pretty sad. A few drops of baby's blood dabbed on a card are used for California's mandatory newborn screening for 77 serious genetic diseases. But parents might not, or might be surprised what the state does with that genetic material after the tests are completed. It says there's little argument among medical professionals that the DNA tests done on newborns are vital. So, the experts say it must be done. Well, then they'll just do it, and they'll pass the bill in the middle of the night, where most Americans aren't even aware, and then they won't really promote it as much as with the same type of vigor and effort and money and resources that they do with the vaccination effort, right? Left untreated, that I'm not even going to cover that, but you need to go in here and check this out. It's important information, especially if you're a parent. You need to know that your baby's blood, we did go in a database, and you can put in a request, depending on what state you live in, to have that DNA removed. But once it's done, you can pretty much rest assured that, yeah, they'll give you it back, that they have it. So I'm sorry to tell you that, but Welsh children abuse record high. Over 1,000 children have been in women's refugees in Wales last year. The country's first national domestic violence conference has heard. That's kind of weird the way they worded it, but the Spanish flu is back. This is from the People's Daily Online out of China. Avian flu alert as HK sees first case in 7 years. Beijing, Hong Kong health experts have warned of the possibility of more cases of the avian flu after Hong Kong reported its first human case of the illness since 2003. Superbug spreading in Europe, health expert. A recently emerged superbug is spreading in Europe, and prudent use of antibiotics can be the key to effective prevention, a senior health expert. Biotech company secretly releases millions of GM mosquitoes in Cayman Islands. This is from NaturalNews. Scientists at British biotechnology giant Oxitec recently developed a genetically modified mosquito that, apart from a specific chemical antibiotic, is unable to successfully repopulate. It says, and the company recently released millions of these GM mosquitoes in the Cayman Islands to see what would happen. You like that? And they did so without proper approval or announcement, prompting outrage by experts and the public over the unknown consequences. And you know who called for this? Your buddy, Mr. Bill Gates. Yes, he called for it. DEET chemical now being found in municipal water supplies. The Minnesota Department of Health is conducting an investigation of the popular insect repellent in response to concerns over its prevalence in groundwater, rivers, lakes that serve as drinking water services. Young girls now reaching puberty at age 7. This is mostly due to BPA and in the food. It says an increasing number of U.S. girls are now reaching puberty as young as the age of 7, according to a study conducted by researchers from the Cincinnati's Children. It's about hyper-feminizing women so that they hit puberty earlier, and also puts them at the risk for cancer more, and boys feminizing them as well. So no surprise, teens carry 30% more BPA than antidepressants promote rapid weight gain. Routine tonsillectomy leaves child brain damage. Statin drugs are overprescribed, and joggers who use energy drinks are putting their health at risk. Thank you.